UBC creative writing instructor Kevin Chong is a clever literary type who likes to take on subjects he knows nothing about, which he cleverly turns into fascinating stories. Like many of us, he has been attracted to the glamour of horse racing and enthralled by magnificent thoroughbreds, athletic jockeys, hot walkers, and others who make up the racing community. Chong recently launched a memoir-style book called My Year of the Racehorse. It is my pleasure to welcome Kevin Chong back to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Hi, Fan.
Hi. Well, always wanted to own a racehorse or not?
In some ways, I always wanted to own a racehorse, yes, because I think at an early age, I wanted to be an old man. I wanted to go to the track and perfect the betting system. I wanted to understand this glamour in the world of racing, and I figured owning a racehorse would probably be the easiest way to get trainers and hot walkers to pay attention to me.
And if you have a little money in the bank,
yes,
it helps.
Yeah, around that time I was thinking about buying a condo, and I realized that only kind of condo I could afford as a writer was a very awful, flea-bitten one. And I think that I decided that it was that money, or at least some of that money, was better spent on a horse, which was much more exciting.
It is one of our dreams. It's always been one of my dreams too, to own a thoroughbred or to own a standard bred, go to the track, sit in the box in the fancy hat, or go to the Kentucky Derby and watch your horse win.
Yeah, and well, if you're going to buy a horse at Hastings, the chances of it making it to the Kentucky Derby are slim.
Right.
But at the same time, you still get the excitement of being on a winner's photo. You still get the excitement of hearing your name called out by the PA announcer as an owner. It's so much fun.
First day, you went to the track to actually do the story. Yeah. How were you received?
I think I was, people were suspicious. I'm not somebody they might expect to be interested in horse racing. I'm probably too much of a nerd, and I don't think they knew what to expect. But I dealt with people who were curious at least, and gradually they just sort of got accustomed to my presence.
So somebody who talked to you, certainly embraced you, worked with you, Randy.
Randy, yes.
Tell me about her.
Randy is a trainer, a lifelong trainer. I guess she's been working at the track since she was 18 and lived there for a while in a tack room. And she's also works at Canada Post. So during my year at the race track, I not only hung out with her at the track, but I would walk on her route in Hastings Sunrise and follow her around as she put flyers in people's mail slots.
Delivered the mail, and I didn't know until I read My Year of the Racehorse that you're not allowed, as a friend of the postal carrier, to carry the mail.
Yes, well,
or help.
Yeah, it's like property. I don't think it would be great to have a civilian carrying the mail, and saved me a lot of work because it got really hot in the summer.
What fascinated you about the community of the track, specifically Hastings or any track really, the sense of community in the barns?
What really fascinated me was just how diverse that community can be. There are people at Hastings who walk horses and who are black. There are people who are Asian, people who are gay, people who are native, and there are people who couldn't fit in at a 9-to-5 desk job. They can't slave under a tyrannical boss, but when your boss is a 1,000-pound thoroughbred who might be temperamental, it's still somewhat more agreeable somehow, and there's a real sort of off-color humor at the track, but at the same time, if you're different, if you work hard and you're different, they'll still accept you, which I find really great.
And the love of a horse runs deep. Certainly for me, I know as a young girl, I would do anything for my horse, Frisky, the old Pinto. Like groom her, take care of her, and I thought she was a thoroughbred. Do you know that connection? Did you get the connection of, say, Randy, the trainer?
Yes. Well, I got her connection right away.
Her connection to horse.
I got her connection right away, and just the fact that she can just get in a stall with a horse and not be terrified. I think that really struck me. At some point, I could help in the stall. Not help a lot, but I could maybe hold the bridle while the horse is being bandaged. And one thing I found really shocking was how much I grew to love the smell of horses, to be honest.
And the barn.
The barn, yeah. Because growing up as a kid,
room.
yes, as a kid you would go to the PNE and you would see goats and cows, and that smell is not so inviting. But the barns at Hastings are just have a really nice, comforting smell.
I've never been inside the barns at Hastings, but I've been inside some thoroughbred barns, and they're nicer than my house, some of them.
If you go to somewhere like Kentucky especially, yes.
So you buy the horse, you buy part of the horse. What did your friends think about that?
Well, they keep asking me which part of the horse you bought, and at some point
Of
I got
course.
really sick of it. But no, they thought it was fun. They thought maybe they expected me to do something a little stupid, but they really embraced it, and they came to the track with me. They brought carrots and apples for the horse, and it was just fun to bring your friends and family to the track. I think that's one of the best parts of owning a horse.
There you are.
Yeah.
With Mocha Time,
Yes.
nicknamed Blackie. Does she eat bananas? Is that the horse who eats bananas?
I don't remember. I don't think she did eat bananas. I think she
It'd be
was
an odd
more-
horse who eats bananas, I think.
There must have been a
Carrots.
horse who ate bananas, and they like. I think Blackie actually liked plums at some point, but I never fed her plums. But mints are really good. Sweets.
So how much of her did you own?
At some point, I owned 10%, and then later on, I think I owned 20. Yeah. So
Okay, first race.
yeah, first race.
You're in the audience.
Yes.
Is that what they call it?
The,
you're on the
the
fence.
apron.
In the apron, because there's so much lingo at the
yes.
track, as you know.
I love the lingo at the track. But the first race, you know what? The first race was just confusing to me. Like somebody who's a very casual horse racing fan, it takes some time to actually understand what's happening in a race. Like why a horse is running back or why the horse is running up front, what the jockey's doing with his hand, whether what it looks like when a jockey's trying to hold back a horse, and what a jockey looks like when he's trying to urge the horse on. And at some point you understand it. The grammar of horse racing sort of becomes apparent.
Yeah, the
and it's really
parlance
amazing.
of the whole thing, because there's so many things they say, and if you're not a track person,
Yeah.
what do you know?
Exactly. I think it's part of the reason why horse racing is difficult for some people, especially younger people.
Sure.
Because it requires a lot of know-how.
Like who's a hot walker? What does a hot walker do?
Yeah, and how to bet a triactor or how to determine late speed from early speed in a program. And for somebody who's like me, who has that sort of interest in difficult things, that's really exciting. For a lot of people, they'd rather just play internet poker or slots.
Right, but it's a steep learning curve, really,
Yeah,
or you
yeah.
you absorb it in a sense. So what do the hot walkers do at the track?
Well, a horse gets really overheated after a race or even a workout, and to cool down, they just need to walk around a bit because otherwise they'd just be sort of standing in their stall. So a hot walker basically walks a horse around the shed row a few times,
Right.
and
Well, in the olden days, they made like $5 or something.
yeah, and they don't make a ton these days. Some of them, I forget exactly what they make, maybe like between $1,500, $2,000, and they work 6 days a week. Some of them get to live at the track, which is Spartan, but still a livable place. They get free
so
cable.
day of the race, your first race
Yeah.
or your second
Yeah.
race, the routine.
Yeah.
You go into the barn, talk to Randy, talk to Blackie.
Yeah. Sometimes I
What?
leave her alone because I leave Randy alone because you don't want to interfere. You want the horse to be calm and not feel like anything special is going to happen or get psyched up. And you don't want to get Randy upset because she can get upset. And so
I hear tell.
Yes. So you kind of hide, and if the horse does well, then you sort of then you just show up and everyone's really happy, and you hang out in the tack room where there's a couch and a TV, and you sort of shoot the breeze.
And who picks the jockey to ride the horse? The owner, the trainer?
Oh, definitely the trainer. I think maybe if you're an owner who has a bit more know-how, but that wasn't me. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, in the paddock, you'll have the trainer with the jockey, and the trainer gives some last-second advice, and it's generally maybe like 2 or 3 sentences worth of advice. You know, like keep the horse up front. You know, like hold her until halfway through the race, and then let her go, or something like that. And even then, a lot of the times the jockey has to ignore all that advice, and because the race breaks in a different way.
Always, I guess. Yeah. And when you realize how athletic and what great athletes jockeys are, some people don't know that. I mean, you would kind of assume people know that, but
a lot of people think jockeys are just passengers. And but the thing is, they're physically crouched over a horse. That's not easy to do. And at some point, they're holding a horse back from really running their fastest. So using their arms a lot. And then at some point, they're trying to urge their horse forward to go faster, and they're using the crop, and they're also trying to use their legs to sort of extend the horse's stride.
Sure.
So it's really physically demanding, and it's so dangerous. These guys can be they're tiny, they're 100-pound guys, 100-pound girls, and but at the same time, they're really macho.
Yeah, Tom Walsky's a great friend of mine. Rode at Santa Anita, all of that, and of course now stars in his own television show, The Sport of Kings. About horses. He's a Boston boy. Let's come back and talk more about your year and my year of the racehorse, falling in love with the Sport of Kings. Kevin Chong, our guest.